Hello, members of the UND campus. Thank you for tuning in. And today, we're going to talk about our continuing efforts on repatriation of Native American ancestors here at the University of North Dakota. You'll recall that at the end of August, we made a public announcement about the activities of repatriation and the discovery on our campus of a number of Native American ancestors. At the time, we felt that that number would be in the dozens. And today we're here to give an update on what we have found subsequent to that initial announcement. First, I must begin by apologizing to all of our Native American colleagues, both on campus and in the Native American communities, for the actions of our university over many decades. I know it's caused great pain to each and every one of you, and just know that our commitment as a university is to see the repatriation effort through until the very end, when all ancestors are returned to their homes. Since the announcement at the end of August, we continued searching. The reason for making that announcement was to open all eyes on our campus so that we could examine spaces that we had not yet examined. And what we found was, in fact, that there were additional Native American ancestors on our campus. We found an intersection between our repatriation efforts and the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. And in fact, we know that as we searched through anatomy labs and other spaces within the school, we found additional human remains, at least one of which is a Native American ancestor. And so our announcement today is to make sure that you're aware of this and to have our Vice President for Health Affairs and Dean of the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, Dr. Josh Wynn, to join us today to share more information about SMHS's approach to repatriation and to make sure that we move forward in a respectful and positive way. So Dr. Wynn, Josh, thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you, President Armacost. It's a pleasure to be with you and to discuss this important issue.
Right, and I know that this, of course, surprised you as the Dean, and I know many of your leadership team as well. And so I think it's important for us to recognize the severity of what we're finding here, not just at UND, but also in SMHS.
Well, I just want to say on behalf of all of them, but especially from me, I just want to emphasize my pain at the pain that this has caused our Indigenous colleagues. I have visited with many of them, and the pain is palpable, and I apologize for my role in not alleviating that pain before now.
And I mentioned that there was at least one Native American ancestor found among the human remains. Please share with us what happens next and what the steps are that you'll take for the repatriation of that Native American ancestor.
We will rely on the actions and the recommendations of UND's Repatriation Committee as to the appropriate and respectful way of returning the ancestors to their homes. We will do the same thing for the non-Indigenous remains that we are accumulating through the actions of the Repatriation Committee.
Right, and I think it's important to note too that while we have found and identified one Native American ancestor, it could be that this collection has others as well and will afford the same sense of respect and dignity to those ancestors as well. Now, if you could place into context the use of human remains within schools of medicine, not just here at UND, but also across the country.
So look, this has been an essential part of the education of medical and other students for decades. It was the way I was educated, and shame on me and shame on us that we didn't ask questions before this. This was the standard, but that doesn't mean it was the right standard. We should have asked questions. I didn't.
And so this means there will certainly be changes to policies and procedures within the School of Medicine, and I suspect those will be put into place immediately.
They will be. We have discussed this internally, and we have made a commitment that we will no longer use human remains of any sort where it is not clear that the donor made it clear that they want to donate their body or bodily parts to the education of students.
Yeah, and clearly this policy change is the result of the broader set of repatriation activities that are happening here at UND. But a natural question is, why now and why not earlier? Why did we not make these changes earlier?
Well, it should have been earlier, and I don't have a good answer to your question of why I and we didn't realize this before. We should have, we didn't. What I can say is what we are going to do going forward. I regret my error and our error in this regard, but I can commit to what we're going to do from this moment forward.
Great. Well, Dr. Nguyen, thanks for being here and sharing your perspectives as the Dean of the School of Medicine and Health Sciences and the approach that you and your leadership team are taking. I think it's also important to remind members of our community that we'll do our best to keep you updated. Just like the update today, we will continue these types of updates. We also have information that will be posted on the UND website, which is und.edu/repatriation. I think it's also important for us to note that repatriation is just one element of support that we need to provide for our Native American community. In addition to counseling services and other behavioral support that we have to provide in the aftermath of this terrible news, we also need to make sure that we place full emphasis on the holistic issue of support to Native Americans on our campus and in our local community. So whether this is repatriation or other ways that we as a campus can eliminate barriers to the success of our Native American students, faculty, and staff members, these are actions that we commit to as a university. And finally, let me recognize that November is Native American Heritage Month. And so this is an opportunity for all of us as a campus to come together to better understand Native American history, Native American culture, and the tremendous accomplishments that our Native American colleagues make day in and day out to our state, to our university, and to the entire nation. Thank you all for tuning in.